listening to the Careers BU podcast, a podcast aimed at Bournemouth University students and graduates. Each episode, we talk to employers, alumni and professionals all about their career journey, what employers are looking for, and help you explore the opportunities that are available to you. Hello and welcome to this episode. I'm Amanda Fripp, Careers Advisor at Bournemouth University. In today's episode, I chat to BU alumni Matt Cosier, the founder of the Gaia Card. Matt talks about his experience of starting a digital marketing agency while studying at university. They're going on to set up the Gaia Card, a discount card connecting consumers to sustainable brands. They were also the winners of the BU Eco Entrepreneurs Fund for 2 years in a row. Hi Matt, welcome to the podcast. Can you just introduce yourself to me, please?
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a former BU student. I'm originally from Kent. I now have a degree in business, master's in marketing, and 2 businesses, one called Gaia Card, which I'm CEO of, and Big Influence Media, which I'm also CEO of.
Excellent. And when did you graduate from so the last course you did was your master's. When did you graduate from that?
Oh, well, it was in the middle of COVID, so it should have been in 2021, but I ended up graduating in 2022.
Okay, cool. So not 2020, that's not really long ago, and yet you've now got 2 businesses.
Yeah, I know. Well, I did actually start Big Influence Media when I was studying my degree initially, my business management degree, and it was purely, I've always done graphic design. I saw a gap in the market. I needed some extra income, and I've got quite a good network down here, so it gave me the opportunity to be able to trial some strategies with some businesses that worked, and enabled me to bring that into a business. It did start off just me freelancing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just doing a couple of bits for an old job that I had. Then went into that, and then ended up with sort of 45 clients when I was doing
45.
I ended up having quite a few clients. I ended up hiring two ladies to help me out while I was there. Both from the uni actually. But then ended up starting Gaia.
Okay, so Big Influence Media was your first business that you set up, and you did that whilst you were at university.
Yes.
As an undergrad, and that's like a marketing agency, is it?
Yeah, so it started off just doing social media management, to be honest. It was pretty basic. So it was literally just creating content that was branded, that had an objective to either increase reach or likes. It was very basic, first of all. Then as I diverged a bit more into it, and to be honest, got a bit more knowledge from the university on strategy, because I'd done strategic management. It's where it really flourished. And then I ended up doing websites, strategies for global companies, campaigns across the UK for like Esquire's Coffee, Shrap Marketing, investment companies, estate agents, car sales, you name it, we sort of done it. We would never sort of take on a business that we couldn't help. So I'm a strong believer of if we can't help you, we won't. I did have a couple of clients in America that were selling coffee, which I was like, yeah, okay, we'll take you on. It'll be okay. But then as I realised that you shouldn't take on every bit of work that comes your way, because if you can't actually reach their objectives, then it could give you a negative reputation. So that was the only client that we actually didn't do good results for, and it made me sort of realign the way that I approach clients and what we do for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's quite interesting. So you realise actually it's not always the best thing just to take all the work that came to you, actually being that little bit more selective and making sure that you can meet those objectives. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I think it's definitely better when setting a business up to have your reputation. We grew through word of mouth. Although we was a marketing agency, we didn't actually market ourselves.
Really?
No, we actually didn't. We always was a strong believer of standing out, and I always think you should do. I read a book called The Purple Cow once, and it really stood out to me. And I think that in any sense of business, that is basically the whole premises of the book is, if you was going through a field of cows and one was purple, which one would you notice? So that's the whole premises that we built Big Influence on, was all about standing out, thinking different, and basically just attracting the attention in weird and wonderful ways.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, cool. So, and then the other business that you set up is the Gaia Card. So can you tell me a little bit about that? I mean, it's quite a popular thing within Bournemouth University. I think quite a few people know about it, but if they don't, can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, so Gaia's, it's all about better choices. It's all about picking the better option. One thing that we realised was that a lot of people are becoming conscious, but a lot of businesses aren't really keeping up with it. And it's a struggle to find businesses that are actually offering better products and services. So what we decided to do, and also they come at a premium. So it started off basically with 50% of vegan and vegetarian meals, which is now developed into sustainable, ethical health and fitness. So it's all about being better for the people and for the planet. So we try to bring down the cost of sustainable, ethical health and fitness products. Like obviously, vegan products are normally quite expensive. Sustainable products are normally more expensive because of supply and demand. There's actually not that many of them out there at the moment. And fitness and health also. Health products are normally more expensive, and like gyms, like one-on-one PTs and stuff normally come at a premium. So yeah, the whole premises was making it easier for consumers to do more. Basically, it doesn't matter if you're an eco warrior or if you're just Harry that goes down the pub with a Gaia card. With a Gaia card, we've done the hard work for you. All you need to do is get a membership, which is $3.49 for a student. We basically we put all of the products in front of you. So that'd be local coffee shops, sustainable products, vegan brands, and we give you a discount on them. But we're more than just a discount card. So we also plant trees and we give back to charity. We actually support 4 charities now. And we've got a forest of over 70,000 trees, mostly in Madagascar, but some in Somerset as well. So yeah, the whole premise is you save money, you reduce your carbon footprint, and you give back to your local community. So yeah, we've got quite popular with the university. So we've now got another 3,800 students coming on in September. We've just secured a deal with the Bournemouth University staff, which all 1,000 staff will have a Gaia card now. So yeah, and then more recently, we've had a meeting with AUB just before I went on holiday last week, which is looking promising. So getting somewhere.
So all the students get a card automatically, do they?
Yeah, first years.
For all first years, okay. But anyone and staff, but anyone else, whether you're in university or outside of university, members of the public, they can pay for this membership ultimately, which pays for the card, and then they can access discounts at ethical, sustainable shops, restaurants, health and fitness products. Some of these are online as well, aren't they?
Yeah, so we have 140 brands now listed, and they're mostly online now. And we've just gone to Southampton, Bristol, and Brighton. We have about 60 local partners to Bournemouth, so that will be in Poole, Christchurch, Bournemouth Town Centre, the Triangle, Winton, Poole, Southbourne, Westbourne. So yeah, we're in all the boroughs of Bournemouth, and we're just moving into Bristol, Brighton, and Southampton. But other cards like Taste Card, they have like 8,000 brands on, but it's not all about how many brands we have on, it's about the quality of them. So we do actually hand select them, and we have a criteria they have to reach to come onto the platform. Now, this base is around environmental, social, and governance. So it's not purely just on the packaging that they have, but also on how they treat their employees, whether they give back to charity, their strategy for long term, because obviously it's easier said than done with a lot of businesses. We can't just give a magic wand and expect them all to become sustainable. So we work with businesses and they do a Gaia carbon pledge. So some businesses might enable themselves for 6 months and we go back to them and see how well they've done. Other businesses, it might be 2 years. Yeah, because some businesses will find it easier to transition, whereas other businesses won't. So yeah, we're all on the premises that you don't have to be perfect. No one's perfect. No one should believe that they need to be. Some people in the environmental industry, they do try to live a perfect life. They eject a lot of agendas on people and get a lot of people upset, and actually have a negative effect on the mission and vision that we're trying to achieve, which I think is quite upsetting. With us, we just focus on pure solutions. Rather than showing you like a dead animal and burning stuff and just horrible plastic in the ocean, we're just like, look, it's not that difficult. We take it down to the fundamentals, and I think a lot of people overcomplicate the world's problems at the minute. I think if you actually take it down to what's actually the problem, there's a lot of people, like 7 billion people. Everyone wants a Western life, everyone wants cars, products, but everyone's consuming very badly. And that's the way I see it, is that there's a lot of people consuming very badly. So, and consumption goes further than the products you buy as well. I think a lot of people don't understand this. It's the coffee shop seat that you've not sat in. It's the plane seat that's not active for you. It's you go in every store in every city that it's just full to the brim with products. So yeah, what we're trying to do is just focus on pushing people to the better products, and then hopefully that will have a positive effect on the environment long term, by pushing where the money goes, and essentially.
So I guess, so you're kind of doing it like in a gentle approach of encouraging consumers to, if they're going to consume, to try and think more ethically, more sustainably. But like you said, not kind of push them into it. But I guess there's a fine balance, isn't it? Because there is quite a lot of greenwashing out there. And it is hard to know as a consumer, you think you're making a right choice, but then actually you realize you're being greenwashed, and it's actually like completely not right option to be doing. So it becomes really complicated, doesn't it, as a consumer?
I think so, and like I say, I always put it down to and where the idea originally come from with Gaia. When I was younger, I was dating an activist. She went to the arts uni, and she educated me a lot about veganism and sort of the mission behind it. And I went to protests a lot with her, and it was just another world to me. But I realised that every time we're in Asda, she's looking at the packets. We would go to places she wouldn't be able to eat, and I just thought, why is this stuff not more accessible? And the places that we did go, it was more expensive. And I used to have a taste card, so we were sat in Zzz's before, and we was actually sat there, and she was like, wouldn't this be a good idea if this had vegan and vegetarian meals on there? And I thought it would be incredible, but taste card's more focused on fast food, pizzas, lounging around, sitting in Odeon cinema, like not really being active. So the whole premises of Gaia was first developed based around the taste card, giving 50% off vegan and vegetarian meals. Then I met Nick, my co-founder, and told him the idea. I said, I've got this idea, it's called Gaia. We have a bamboo card, it's 50% of vegan and vegetarian meals. And he just said, that's incredible. Let's do it. So that's where the whole Gaia you see now has developed. Me and Nick put our heads together in lockdown. And then that's where the sustainable aspect come from, the fitness aspect, the tree planting. And yeah, we really sat there for weeks on end, just drilling away. And then we got our first partner on across the road. I lived in town centre, which was a Squires. But yeah, the whole premises is it's not that complicated. Small changes collectively make a big difference. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be 100%. Most of our partners are not 100% themselves. But it's just all about working towards a common goal. I've seen it before with Greg's, and it really stood out to me. So Greg's had the vegan sausage roll, and someone told me Greg's profit has increased 8% since they introduced the vegan sausage roll. And I said, no, never. Knowing a lot of business case studies, learning at uni and studying them myself, I thought it was unheard of. So I researched it, and it was right. Their profit had gone up 8% due to them introducing the vegan sausage roll. And now they have many vegan products. So they have, I think, 7, 8 vegan products. Now, Greg's isn't the most sustainable company either, but the difference is if you put the money towards companies like this, they will succeed. For instance, Wildwood's probably one of our less sustainable companies, but they have a good vegan menu. So if you go to Wildwood, you get 50% off a vegan burger, or it's 100% for a normal burger. So even if you are a meat eater and you're a bit short on cash, might try that vegan burger today. It's only it's a fiver. So we're all about pushing people to better choices and making it easier for them to transition. And I think we even had a company called Hills Bistro. They didn't have any plastic packaging. No, they used purely plastic packaging. Sorry, they didn't have any vegan menu, and it was actually a friend of mine. And he said, "Can we join the platform?" I said, "Oh, well, not really our market." So we done the criteria. He failed. The only person that's ever failed, really. 6 months later, he comes back to us. I've got vegan menu. I've got a sustainable packaging. They've done tree planting campaigns with us, and it was just incredible to see them, because obviously they knew the power of Gaia pushing customers in, and they needed the business really, because they've unfortunately shut down now. But yeah, that Gaia basically kept their business afloat for a while because of the vegan menu and stuff. So
it also helped influence businesses in how they operate sustainably. So influence, and that's really great. Okay. One thing you mentioned a little while ago when we were chatting was that you came from a background that maybe wasn't very entrepreneurial, but you sound very entrepreneurial in your journey so far. And you mentioned something about when you lived with your housemates and they owned businesses. So can you tell me a little bit about that? Where did this kind of entrepreneurial side to you start kicking in?
Yeah, so I've always been passionately curious, and I've always been interested in business. I went to a boys' grammar school when I was younger, a business school. I'm not from a well-off area. I unfortunately lost our home when we was younger. My dad ended up committing suicide, and I lived in a council house. all of my life. Yeah, which is just, it happened. It's one of them. It's just unfortunate. But yeah, I've always been interested in doing more and wanting more. So luckily, I got the opportunity to go to university. When I went to uni, my granddad drove me down. I'd never really left 10 miles from my house, like ever. Never even really seen big buildings. So come up to Bournemouth, and the first thing I remember seeing is the big car park with Asda, and I was like, whoa, there's so much concrete here. But yeah, I went to a shared house because I was late. I went in through clearing, and yeah, I lived with four of the wealthiest people I know, and it was crazy because obviously they was talking about deposits and stuff, and my mum didn't have any money, and my granddad wrote a check, and I was like, whoa, like thank you, like I didn't realise this would cost so much money. I'd never, not one person in my not one person who went to university out of my whole family, and my dad's got 10 brothers and sisters. I've got like 56 cousins and like 120 like second cousins, and from a real big community, old mining community. But yeah, I lived with them, and I realised that business doesn't have to be what you see on the news and on the media, like these big billionaires. It's like you can make a business out of anything. One of the lads I lived with, his dad owned lottery machines, like the machines that make lottery tickets. He sold them. Like you walk in the shop, you don't even think who sells them. Another gentleman that I lived with, his dad got rich from painting in a bit on a window. Another lad I lived with, it was called the White Room. So his mum and dad basically just owned a big empty space. There's interior designers, and when you take photos and catalogs and you look at them, you don't really think where they come from, but they would get given the like sofas and stuff, and they would set them all up in this and take photos of them, give them to IKEA and stuff. So yeah, it just made me realise that business is everything. Like you look around the room, everything is created by business. The lights, the fittings, the wooden floor, the cups, the laptop in front of me. Yeah, so it just made me realise that everything needs to be made, and business is everything. So yeah, it really opened my eyes up to what the potential of a business could be.
So you've had a really kind of, it sounds like quite a difficult background in some ways with some of those experiences that you've had when you were younger. And do you feel like the turning point was kind of when you got to university and it kind of opened your eyes then?
Yeah, I've always had a lot going on in my head. I've always been an ideas man. But yeah, definitely coming to uni and yeah, and just learning about strategy. Like this is one thing a lot of people that are famous now, like Stephen Bartlett and stuff, they always put down university. And I don't understand why. Like I literally, even from school, maybe I've got a good memory or maybe I was just naturally interested in it, but I still use stuff from school. And university especially, like I went to university first of all, done a foundation degree. I dropped out in the final year and I went to work. I ended up going back to uni when I was 26 to do my degree, and I'd already had a bit of insight into the working world. So when I went back, I was like, wow, like I'm utilizing this stuff because it's crucial. And I think that's why in pop culture now it's annoying because a lot of people don't get that. They just go to uni and they don't think it's very relevant because people are saying on TV, and it's like it's as relevant as you make it. Because I know I yeah, when I went back, I went in. I was like, oh, this knowledge is great. Yeah, I think yeah, university definitely helped me in the way that the way I'm going to grow the business. I think university is more crucial. I don't think it talks to you about the nitty gritty on starting a business and how hard it is to get from 0 to 1. But I think in the scalability and when we're a global company, I think it's going to be incredible.
And it was interesting, obviously, going in, you came back to university as a mature student because after your foundation year, and sometimes being that little bit older, it sounded like you were a lot more focused at that point in your life. And I guess that varies depending on each individual person. You know, some people are focused when they are 18, 19, but sounded like you need that bit of extra time for yourself to figure out what it is you really wanted.
Yeah, I think everything happens for a reason, and I think yeah, going back at that age, being a bit more mature, made me understand it a bit more. When I was younger, like any student, 90% of them was just drinking loads. I lived with the rugby captain. I never actually played rugby for the uni, but I'm sure you can imagine. Yeah, it was just drinking all the time, all the time. But luckily, I did always keep my head screwed on, so I'd drink a lot, but I would keep up with my work. Whereas unfortunately, my housemates didn't. They all failed uni for some reason. I did drink more than them though, I'm sure, but um,
Wow, but it sounds like, I think you sound like you got a lot of motivation. Maybe that's, you are motivated. with your businesses, with your work, the fact that you've gone on to do a master's. So I guess that pays off in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I love learning. I've been thinking about doing a PhD, to be honest, and
Oh,
not
wow.
because of just not because of any sense. I think I think it's good, to keep your brain active. I think, and obviously, like in a busy lifestyle, you're not going to be reading textbooks and stuff. And I know a lot of people think that's quite nerdy, but no, I do actually. I love education. I'd forever learn if I could. But yeah, I've been thinking about doing my PhD. I don't know what in yet, but
There's another thing to take on. Well, let's talk about funding. So one thing which is where we met, was there's the Eco Entrepreneurs Fund, which Bournemouth University runs, because you were the winner of
yes,
that in, I can't remember what year that was, 2021, 22, 2022.
two-time
Yeah,
winners.
2 times winners.
No, we've won
Yes,
twice.
yeah, I know.
We
Yeah,
won this
I
year
know
as
you won
well.
the first year, and then you won the second year. I was going to say in the second year. So tell me a little bit about the Eco Entrepreneurs Fund.
So the Eco Entrepreneurs Fund is like £2,500. It was our first bit of funding we've ever had, because we built Gaia from just our hands. But yeah, no, it's really good. It's really interesting. We was with some incredible businesses, and it gives me hope for the future, because the some of the businesses we were up to were incredible. Some of the stuff they were doing was so advanced, and it always puts it back to some people overcomplicate the solutions to the problems, and they're still part of the solution. But if we're going to have a mass effect, you need to reach the masses, and you need to change the habits of them. But yeah, no, the Eco Entrepreneurs Fund done a lot for us. It was our first bit of funding. After that, we got the Res Life deal on, which was good. But yeah, no, it did definitely help. We do need more funding, really, realistically. But I suppose every business does. But yeah, it did do a lot for us. It was lovely to meet the other businesses.
And that was a competition amongst other
Yeah,
Bournemouth University students or graduates or alumni or recent graduates, I think, who have a sustainable or eco business idea. Went and pitched, didn't you? You pitched your idea,
yeah,
and then there was a competitive process of the judges to decide who won it. So, and you were allowed to do that 2 years running, weren't you? So you won the first year,
mm.
and then the second year you were a prize winner as well, weren't you? So
We two years in a row. Unfortunately, I couldn't make this year one. I had my mum's funeral, which was a bit of a shame. But Nick went out and he killed it. Absolutely smashed it for us. So we got the prize. I can't really comment on much on this year's one, but last year's one was incredible. Um, like I say, I had loads of fun doing it. Literally loads of fun. It was like a Dragon's Den style thing, really. Realistically,
yeah,
yeah. So if any students are listening, you want to get involved, do it. It was really good experience. Even just like if you wanted to set up something, it gives you ideas of like how other people are doing it and stuff as well,
yeah.
because not one shoe fits all as well. And I always think it's good to have a different approach with everything. But like I say, the businesses last year, I can't really comment this year because I wasn't there, but last year were incredible, honestly. And the people, it was really, really, really good.
Yeah, so it's worth any students thinking about any ideas
Yeah.
already for the next one, which will be around kind of January time.
And we've actually gone onto the Santander Global one now as well.
Okay,
So hopefully we applied for that a couple of weeks ago. I got an email from the uni. So we'll see how that one goes.
brilliant. Well, good luck with that one. So, as an entrepreneur, what qualities or skills do you think are important to be an entrepreneur? Not necessarily an entrepreneur. I think sounds quite unattainable for a lot of people. But what skills and qualities do you think are important to run your own business?
So one thing that prevented me from starting a business initially when I was younger is probably the better way to go about it. I used to think that to start a business, you needed so much more than you do. So when I first set up a business idea when I was younger, I was looking for like £500,000 investment, which I just thought was normal. I was like, yeah, didn't even really do much planning. Was just like, that's how much we need. Just picked a number out of the hat, which is quite unattainable, really. But I think it's mainly knowing, like, first of all, getting what the idea is and working out whether it's viable. I think is a good idea, because a lot of people waste a lot of time. And I've been to networking events with other entrepreneurs, and not to dampen on their ideas, I'm like, if you've really thought this through, like, how much money have you spent on that? I don't really get it, which obviously a lot of people don't get Gaia, which is fine. And obviously if you've got that in your head, but I think just working out a plan. Everything I've done has been based around a plan. I try to do low risk, high return plans. So, like, for instance, we only launched in Bournemouth initially. If we launched globally or nationally, we might have grown too big too quick, and our processes wouldn't have been very good. So I think it's starting small and scaling. I'm always a big believer on minimal viable product. So what can we do right now with the minimal effort to get the product to prototype or to launch phase or to get customers? With Gaia, we done a minimal viable product. So we got the system set up and we was growing slowly and building upon that. And we wanted to get 1,000 customers, and then we was going to go to other places. So I think just think about it, really. Just think about it logically. Check if there's any businesses out there, and don't be put off if there is a business out there that does the same thing, because everything's branded, everything's marketing. As long as the product and the business does what it says it does, you can overtake a competitor anyway. I don't think if someone else is doing it, it should stop you doing it. I just think if you've got an idea, think about it properly. Really think about it properly, and get inspired by things. Like I say, everything's been done realistically. So but I'd just say think about it properly.
Yeah, so thinking about it properly, and I guess I think for me, I mean, I was at university quite a few years ago now, but I remember when I was at uni, I always thought I thought it'd be great to have a business, but to me, I always thought there needed to be a product associated with that. And actually, it doesn't. It could be it can be a service. It doesn't have to be a physical product. You don't have to invent something. It could be a service. It could be a marketing service. It could be, if you've got a specific skill, it can be that type of service that you can do as well. It could be freelance. It's wider than sometimes what people initially think.
True. Yeah, there's loads you can do, and luckily I done graphic design when I was very young. When I was 15, so I've always been quite proficient on Illustrator and Photoshop. I personally would recommend anyone to get that knowledge. That helped me massively, because the first thing of a business is the idea, obviously. The second thing is the logo and the branding. So if you haven't got money for the logo and branding, which is quite expensive sometimes, then you're hindering yourself straight away. So personally, I think learning design skills, it depends how much money you've got. Really. If you're starting from zero, then I'd say learn a bit of design, get your logo set up, and then everything sort of bases around that. It's just getting started. A lot of people don't get started. They really don't. Like they have a million ideas and they talk about them, but it is literally just going for it, like initiating it, like write up a business plan, write up the idea, get people up, speak to people about it, get people to like proper drill you on it, because they do. They do. When you tell someone an idea, people do drill you on it.
Have you had any mentors or anyone like that to help you in the business?
James Cummins was probably one of my best mentors. I met him at the university before. He works with us in Gaia now. He had a company called Google Entrepreneurs, which they helped entrepreneurs. And I'd say pretty much a lot of the information I know, which I talk about, like minimal viable product, and all this sort of stuff, comes from him. So I'd say he was a big mentor back then, and he still is now. Actually, he's with us now. He's a shareholder in Gaia. He's our chief technology officer. I'd say James has actually been an incredible mentor. Realistically, he has been. Yeah, he's been really good. He has been really good.
So, are there any other kind of advice or tips you would give students or graduates? I think a lot of it you've probably covered, but are there any other bits of tips or advice you'd give a student or graduate thinking about starting a business?
Just go for it. And when I mean go for it, like truly think about it. Don't do something just because. One of my friends set up 22 businesses since me and Nick have done Gaia, and he always says to Nick, I'm so jealous of you and Matt with Gaia because of this. But I remember him just coming out with ideas out of a hat. Let's do this, let's do that. So like I've had probably 50, 100 ideas, and I'm working on one of them. So I think it's, work out something that you're going to be doing for the duration, because Rome wasn't built in a day. No one's going to get successful overnight. We've been doing this 2-3 years now, and by no means have I paid myself a salary yet. So, but I'm still in for the long run. So I think, just understand that it takes time. You've got to jump in at the deep end sometimes, and you've got to be consistent with it. Network is powerful. Word of mouth is powerful. People always forget about the marketing and the advertising, and they focus on the product. But I always put it down to the Wright brothers. The Wright brothers made a plane. If they did not show that to anyone, because they just kept it to themselves, so like the product's great, it's fine, everyone's going to fly. No one would be flying. So, and that's an incredible piece of engineering. So I think it's important just to get the full mix. So if you're going to set up a business, think about it properly, be like, would I realistically want to do this for 2-3 years without being paid? If your answer is yes, and you truly believe in it, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just something small, like just freelancing or setting up an agency, can I make money from this? And how can I make money from this? Because luckily my marketing stuff pays my wage, but I enjoy doing that as well. But scope of use, I suppose. Like what is the scope of this? Can I actually do this? You only really need like 4 social media clients paying you £500 a month. That's £2,000 a month, obviously minus all the taxes and stuff. And then you've set up. It's not hard to find 4 people. So yeah, always start small and scale, I'd say.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much. I think it's been really great. It's so interesting hearing about your journey, and obviously I keep in touch with like what the Gaia Card is doing, and it's great to see how you've been growing. So I really appreciate you coming on today.
No, thank you. And one of the first times I've done this, so thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening today. Please remember to subscribe and follow so you can keep up to date with all new episodes.